So let's go face to face with 3 chefs and their mac and cheese recipes. Who's got the best one? It's a cage match. It's a cage match. Hello everyone, welcome back to our kitchen. Please make yourself comfortable, I insist. But doesn't this feel familiar to anyone else, a mac and cheese cage match? Haven't we already covered this topic? Indeed we have. Martha Stewart versus Snoop Dogg. Whose is better? I don't think that the fight should end there when it comes to macaroni and cheese. So we got 3 other chefs here, and we're familiar with all 3 of them. First up, Gordon Ramsay. You love him or you hate him, it's your choice. He has added a fairly interesting ingredient into his recipe. Curious to see how it pans out for him. Next up, Anthony Bourdain. You don't mess with his mac. It's a straight shooter of a recipe, packs a mean punch. But will that be enough? Lastly, Thomas Keller, the book that has to be the size of both of these combined. Now will his macaroni au gratin put the fine back in fine dining? We shall see. Who the hell writes this stuff, you wonder? I did 5 minutes ago. Who you got? Gordo, Tony, or TK? The best mac and cheese wins. Today, at least. All made by me, not a chef, Jamie. Let's do it. Round 1, Gordon Ramsay's home cooking. Macaroni and cauliflower bake with 3 cheeses. There's the teased ingredient. This is my twist on the classic mac and cheese, using a trio of cheeses. Sharp cheddar adds a tangy depth of flavor, while the Gruyère and Monterey Jack cheeses melt into a smooth and creamy sauce. Now, I have made this recipe once before, 5-ish years ago, back before I knew anything about cooking and life or anything like that. I don't remember a damn thing about it, but I made it. And here's my reaction. The crunch on the top mixed with the noodles, the cheese, the cauliflower, so many flavors, so much texture. It's fantastic. Fun fact, a couple of years ago on this channel, I used to call cauliflower. So I need to snip this all up into florets. So get rid of the core. He doesn't really specify the size of them, but I mean, it's your mac and cheese, so you don't want them too big. I'd say something like that. I can just tear them off too if I want to. You don't need to use a knife. Got my salted water to a boil, add the cauliflower for 4 to 5 minutes. Split the diff, 4.5, from the boiling water into a bowl of ice water, had it chill completely to stop it from cooking, and then I drained it from that water, and now it is nice and tender. We're using the same type of pasta for each recipe here. It's the number 35 elbow macaroni. I'm specifically using 10 ounces. For all the people that like grams out there, it's around 285 grams worth, if you're into it. So how about that? There's a new camera. I'm gonna be spending a little more time over here today, so I thought 1, 2, 3. Great. I'm gonna be using that same boiling water and add in the macaroni pasta, cook it till al dente, according to the package. 8 minutes. Colander, thank you. 12 seconds left, start your engines. Cold water running, drain the pasta. There's a lot of people in the other cage match video that can't stand this step here, rinsing the starch off the pasta once it's already been boiled. What can I say? I'm following his recipe. I mean, what can I say? That's what I can say. What I'm gonna do here is in the bowl goes the cauliflower, cooked macaroni al dente. All right, and then it just has a few chunks of butter. So there's a butter, there's a few chunks of butter. It says nothing about melting the butter. If he wanted that butter melted, he would have said so. So no, just chunks of butter. All in all, that equals around 1.5 tablespoons of chunks of butter. They'll melt eventually. Okay, casually head to the oven, turn it up to 400 degrees F. Great job. Can I beam in the whiz kid? Thank you. So I have the food processor here because, well, it's a lot of, it's thanks to a lot of you out there who write down in the comments under each video, why the hell are you doing it that way? Well, last mac and cheese cage match video, I was grating all the cheese up using this right here, and it took a very long time. It took way too long. A lot of people were saying, well, why don't you use the Whiz Kid with the vegetable thing? Great for slicing up carrots, or like if you're gonna make a borscht like I did last year with the beets. That timing is impeccable. I hope everyone was okay. I didn't do it. Or you can flip it to the other side and drop it on the ground and try to pick it up and nearly slice your thumb up. You could do that too. But I am going to just grate up some cheese with it. 4 ounces of cheddar cheese, 4 ounces of Monterey Jack, and 3 ounces of Gruyère cheese. Down the hatch. It's fine to cross-pollinate these things, right? Mix the 3 together, yeah. Life-changing. That's all you gotta do to grate up cheese. I am a convert. That saved me a lot of time. And the great thing is it's all mixed together, which is what I need. So let me just keep that off to the side for a second, eat the scraps, and we'll continue. Okay, so saucepan is gonna be big enough to fit the bill. I hope it should. Get the heat going. 4 tablespoons of butter. In with the butter, melting, 1/4 cup of flour, and 2 teaspoons of mustard powder. So let's make a roux. I'm gonna say a medium heat, he doesn't specify. I need my balloon whisk and 2.5 cups of milk, and I'm gonna gradually, with the addition of the milk into the roux, we are now creating a bechamel sauce. Our white sauce needs to be nice and smooth. Gradual, Jamie, what don't you understand? Don't want those clumps, so keep whisking frequently on a low heat and bring it up to a boil. And now looking for that to thicken. Is that thickened? Oh, hell yeah, it's thickened. Next up goes a pinch of cayenne pepper. And then I gotta season with salt to taste. Do not turn it up on a low heat. So I'm gonna add half my cheese into the white sauce. Mix that until the cheese is melted. Keep stirring that until it is smooth again. So that is now officially our Mornay sauce, which is the addition of cheese into our white sauce. Our bechamel sauce, no more. I've turned off the heat. I think the sauce is hot enough now, so the heat's off. Once the sauce is smooth, I can start adding the macaroni and the cauliflower. Cauliflower. This is gonna be a big enough pan, right? Yep. Oh yeah. Mix well to coat. Holy hell. So is Gordon more of a oval or a rectangle kind of guy? Oval. He doesn't mention anything about greasing the inside, but I know from experience, it's just kind of something you want to do. Lightly grease it for Pete's sake. Spread the mixture into my baking dish. Okay, can you say perfect fit or what? The remaining cheese. 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. These are homemade. Shout out to myself. So 3 tablespoons. And then a tablespoon of fresh thyme leaves. So you know the drill. You just go down the sprig the opposite way that the leaves are facing. I don't need to chop them up. I just need them, and I'm gonna chop them up. Okay, in they go there. Give that a mix. Not with a dirty wooden spoon. Maybe just use your hands. That's way better. And now we sprinkle on top. What a dream this has become. Good night. So 400 degrees Fahrenheit, this is gonna go in the oven until the top is golden and crisp. Take around 15-20 minutes. Check in 15. All right, that looks perfect. I'd say that was around 19 minutes. Order up, round 1. We've only just begun. Can you read my poker face? As per usual with the cage match rules, I write everything that I'm thinking down on my little notepad here, and then we will review and discuss once all 3 dishes are completed. Then there was 2. So this cage match is sponsored by HelloFresh. If you, like me, have a very serious issue with time, I mean, like, it just comes and it goes, like, cooking for oneself is a simple one to just not do. Because it's a cinch to just pick up this phone here and order whatever I freaking please. No. Instead of resorting to that expensive and probably unhealthy delivery, say hello to HelloFresh. They make mealtime manageable, saving you time from picking a recipe or going shopping or watching some YouTube cooking video for inspiration. You just pick your meals and everything you need is delivered right to your door with high quality, sustainably sourced ingredients, 50 chef crafted recipes to choose from every week, and if you need to make some tweaks, they're customizable too. Get up to 10 free meals with free shipping on your first box at HelloFresh.com and use the code ANTICHEF10FM. That's free meals applied as a discount on the first box, new subscribers only, and varies by plan. Yep, that's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals and free shipping. Go to HelloFresh.com and use my code ANTICHEF10FM. Thank you, HelloFresh. Goodbye, Fresh. Round 2, Anthony Bourdain's Appetites Cookbook. Macaroni and cheese, aptly titled, Get That Damn Lobster Out of My Mac and Cheese. Shoot. Truffles do not make it better, and if you add truffle oil, which is made from a petroleum-based chemical additive in the crushed dreams of 90s culinary mediocrity, I said, shoot, you should be punched in the kidneys. Straight to the point, I like it, and I have already brought the salted water to a boil. Okay, elbow macaroni, 1 pound this time, which is the whole box, until it's al dente, 8 minutes. Beam in the whiz kid. Thank you. 4 ounces of Gruyère cheese. 5 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. After 8 minutes, drain the pasta. But we are not rinsing this, we just set it aside. So I have Parmesan Reggiano here, and I'm not gonna grate it up with the food processor, of course, but I need 8 ounces worth fresh mozzarella. So I need 5 ounces of this. Perfect. Cube the mozzarella. Now this next part is optional. Ham. With the light shining down on it, it looks rather slimy. It's not, it's just, it's not. So I need 4 ounces. That would be half. Julienne. Very interesting. Maybe like Julienne, he says. I think I should just make it into like lardon pieces. So about 1 inch long. I think that's too big. Thin those out. To me, julienne is very thin. It says we need the still hot macaroni pot. It's cooled down slightly. Let me just heat it back up. 5 tablespoons of butter. There's 4, there's 1, 5. Medium high heat, and I gotta melt the butter until it begins to foam and then starts to subside. We're doing essentially what we did with Gordon's here, is making a white sauce, a bechamel, and then into the mornay, and then into my belly. 5 tablespoons of flour. Now he says you're gonna need to start by whisking the flour into the butter, and then we switch to a wooden spoon. And keep stirring this until it becomes a golden nutty color. It's gonna take around 2 minutes. And we, oy, Scheiße! That stung. Okay, that's got a nutty golden brown. That most definitely does. I can't let that scorch though. 4.5 cups of whole milk. Gracefully would be better. And bring that up to a boil. He says to like keep switching between a wooden spoon and a whisk. So we're looking for none of the milk or hunks of flour to stick to the base of the pan. So once that's just up to a boil, I reduce it down to a simmer. Now I'm looking for a consistency that is slightly thicker than heavy cream. Yeah, it's just right there. I just don't want anything to f up, so I'm just gonna fix that. If there was anything wrong with it to begin with, I can't tell. No, not really. I think it was fine. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's that. I just wasn't really happy with my performance there, so I strained a little of the milk flour that caked onto the bottom of the pan. So there it is, it's out now. No need to worry. Here is the blah, blah, blah. And the sauce, let me just kind of clean this up and then we'll proceed. Yeah, let me just kind of. And now that it's smooth again. Great. Okay, in goes 2 teaspoons of mustard powder, 2 teaspoons cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna whisk that all together. Now I'm gonna add in half of my Parmesan Reggiano, half of it. Whisk that in. And we'll save the rest of the Parmesan for sprinkling on top. Now let's go the rest of the cheese. The grated cheddar and the Gruyère and the mozzarella cubes. Now the optional ham, 4 ounces worth, julienned. Keep stirring that until this is still on a simmer until all the cheese melts. I'm looking at you, mozzarella cubes. So does this need any salt or are we good in that department? Whew, the cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons worth. I'm gonna add a little salt. There's so much freaking cheese in here. This is the mornaniest sauce that has ever mornayed. What is going on with this mozzarella? Has it melted? Oh, it has. That's just kind of how it is, right? Yeah. In goes the cooked macaroni. It's kind of clumped up there. That's okay. We got a wooden spoon to get to work. Got to mix this well. I mean, look at the cheese pull on that. Holy shit. 2 teaspoons of salt. Now I already added a teaspoon in there somewhere. So here's another teaspoon. And optional ground white pepper. Clearly, I've exercised the option. So the rectangle for Tony. I don't even know if it really matters with what I just made, but I am gonna grease up the dish. Just precautionary, you know? Get out of there. Sprinkle on the remaining Parmesan Reggiano. Parm. Oven's been set to 375 degrees F, and I gotta bake this for 15 to 20 minutes until the top is golden brown and the mixture is like slightly bubbling. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. Here it comes. Order up. Round 2. Next, final round. Thomas Keller's Bouchon cookbook. Heavily salt the boiling water. Fantastic. Okay. A standard side dish in bistros, not to mention an American favorite, macaroni and cheese. This version is tossed with the Mornay sauce. Yeah, we've done that. Seasoned with nutmeg. Haven't touched the nutmeg today. Sprinkled with thyme and breadcrumbs, and baked until bubbling and crispy on the top. So, nutmeg, okay. Okay, so we only need 8 ounces of the elbow macaroni this time, not a whole box. You know the drill by now. Into the boiling water. He says until tender, not al dente like the other recipes. So tender is gonna be, the box says 10 minutes. I feel like that might be just a touch too long. So let's go with al dente was 8 minutes. I thought that was perfect for the other 2. And it was nice and tender. Diced Spanish onion. So looking out for around a 1/4 inch dice, he says. It's either 1 cup of sauteed wild mushrooms. So I have some nice looking oyster mushroom here. Could saute those, that might be pretty nice. Or a cured ham, 1/2 cup julienned Bayonne ham. I couldn't find the Bayonne, so I have some Serrano. Oh, shh. Okay, so after okay, we're okay. Always pay attention. So after 8 minutes, drain the macaroni. He says to rinse it under cold water. Now remember, I'm just a guy that follows recipes here. He says to have this macaroni drain on paper towel. Okay? That's what he says to do, drain it on paper towel. You know, it's not up to me to say whether this step is worth it or not. I mean, it is up to me, I guess, for my own cooking. Is this step worth it? Probably not, but we're gonna do it. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is go with the mushrooms. First of all, he says it first in the recipe. Second of all, I didn't get the right ham. So Tony Bourdain already had ham in his mac and cheese, so TK's got the mushrooms. Although he is kind of leaving us the keys of the car because he just says sauteed wild mushrooms. So how do we chop them up? How do we saute them? These are all decisions that I get to make. I think for my mac and cheese here, pieces that aren't too big, kind of a nice choppy dice kind of thing. All right, so I needed 1 cup of mushrooms. That's exactly how much I bought. Impressive. Frying pan. Butter is the fat of choice for the mac and cheese recipes today. Chopped mushrooms. My goal here is to cook all the mushroom juices out of the mushrooms because I don't want watery mushrooms in my mac and cheese. I don't want that to happen. I want them to be nicely browned. So it's gonna take, give them it like 7-8 minutes, yeah. You can see that the pan is starting to dry as the mushrooms absorb all the fat and moisture. Give them time because the moisture starts to reappear on the surface. Salt and pepper. Okay, I think those look nice. Thank you. So we're using a different type of cheese for this one. There's no cheddar, there's no Gruyère. You know what we're using? Either Emmentaler, which is a Swiss cheese, or Comté, which is French. And judging by the hole in this cheese here, we're going with Swiss, Emmental. And I need a cup worth, which is gonna come to around 8 ounces. I hope everyone is okay. 8 ounces. This cheese tastes different than all the other cheeses we've used today. It's got like a nuttier flavor. I'm gonna make another Mornay sauce. Why not? So this one's gonna be done a little different. I have a cast iron skillet and I'm hacking a diffuser here. Diffuser meaning kind of something that's gonna heat evenly, but be in between the pan and the flame. So the pan goes on top. That way nothing's gonna burn, even though nothing burned with the other 2 recipes. There is something in between the saucepan and the flame. 4 tablespoons of butter. Did I mention that's on a medium-high heat? So the butter is melted. I'm gonna add in 2/3 cup of diced Spanish onion, as well as a pinch of salt. And I'm gonna cook this slowly, stirring occasionally. Once those onions are looking translucent after a few minutes, I'm gonna sprinkle in a 1/4 cup of flour. I was doubting the diffuser at the beginning because I thought we were playing it a little too safe, especially because I already made 2 other sauces successfully. But it does make it feel like I'm in a little more control. Definitely. There's no like fear of burning anything, and everything is just kind of cooking evenly. It's kind of nice. I need a whisk for this next part. And I got 2 2/3 cup of milk. So add in the milk, whisking constantly, as well as 1/3 cup of heavy cream. Whisking constantly, you little brat. Bring it up to a simmer. It is taking much longer than the other recipes to bring this up to a simmer. Come on now. So once it's finally simmering, I'm gonna add 4 peppercorns, 4 cloves. So we're gonna go with 1 bay leaf. That's what the recipe says, right? Wanna get nuts? Let's get nuts. 2. I'm not driving. Move the pan to one side of the diffuser away from direct heat to avoid scorching and bring back to a gentle simmer. It's already simmering, but I don't have enough room in this diffuser to do what he's really saying, so let me just kind of take it off direct heat, half and half, yeah. And cook, whisking occasionally, reaching into the corners of the pan for about 30 minutes. Why so much time, Tom? So let me get this straight. We're gonna be simmering this for 30 minutes to really enhance the flavors of the cloves, the peppercorns, and the 1 bay leaf, although I added 2. Now we wait, but keep your eye on it, whisking occasionally. All right, so after TK's precious 30 minutes, I remove the sauce from the heat. Can I have a strainer and I'll need a bowl. Thank you. All right, so let's give this a strain, all the debris in there. Season to taste, so let's get in a little salt. Here's some nutmeg, I need a grating. That would be it, okay. Pinch of freshly ground white pepper. Cool, so I'm gonna add in my cheese, which is around half a cup worth. We're gonna whisk until it's melted. So how has the macaroni on the paper towels been hanging out? It is all nicely dried. You know, what a technique. And that's gonna go into the Mornay sauce. So the mushrooms, also those sauteed mushrooms, in they go. So the mixture may look loose, he says. I don't think it does. Never fear though, the macaroni will continue to absorb the sauce and it will thicken as it bakes. Yeah, I wasn't worried. Pour into blah, 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 blah. So none of the recipes actually said anything about greasing up the baking dish, but it's just a light greasing. It's just to protect my ass. And I did it with each one of the recipes, so no favoritism. Pour this into the dish. That didn't fill it up as much as the other ones. Is there anything left here? What else am I doing? 2 to 3 teaspoons of fresh thyme leaves. Sprinkle half a cup of my grated Emmental cheese. Casually open up your brand new box of panko breadcrumbs. Japanese breadcrumbs. They're a little coarser than your typical breadcrumb there. 2 to 3 tablespoons, I'll go 2.5. So the oven's been preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I gotta turn that down to 375 degrees. So the rack is on the top third part of the oven, and I have to bake this for 15 to 20 minutes, or until the mixture is hot and bubbling around the edges. That is certainly bubbling around the edges and very hot. So since it hasn't browned on the top there, I'm gonna get it under the broiler. For this oven is down here. Bye-bye. That should do it. Order up! Final round. It's gonna have to be good. I think. Let's do it. This will be the tightest cage match that we've ever had over here. Down to the wire, and I can confirm that all 3 of these recipes are doing cartwheels over Martha Stewart's and Snoop's mac and cheeses from last year's cage match. So there's that. We're gonna go in order here, and of course, as per usual, I'll be referring to my notes here. I don't wanna leave anything out. It's too close to call for something like that. So all my thoughts about each one of these recipes right here. Gordon Ramsay's. Holy shit. That's what I wrote. I was in the moment when I was eating this because I hadn't eaten anything all day prior to. I was thinking, like, has anything tasted so good in all my life? I don't know. It was just hitting all the right notes. Smooth, creamy, nice crust on top. Is a cheesy crust, and just a mere 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. I think that's all you need, you know, because that ingredient can create quite a stir with mac and cheese. Just look at Martha Stewart's recipe. I found that that was too much. I see that now. But with this one, it was just like a Hall of Fame move. That's all you need. Perfectly portioned. A masterful stroke of something. So that 3 cheese blend, I wouldn't do anything different with that. Nice sharp tang to it thanks to that cheddar. But I like the combo here, the Gruyère, and the mildness from the Monterey Jack with the cheddar. It just created like a nice smoothness to it, you know? Nice smooth. Now I really do like when there's like a solid mustard flavor in my mac and cheese. With Gordo's, he added, 2 tablespoons. This is a solid amount. So yeah, you're picking that up. And controversial ingredient, cauliflower. How did it do? I thought it was handled appropriately. Not too much, not too little. I wasn't thinking like as I was eating it, like, cauliflower again, that never came up. If you weren't privy to the information that cauliflower is in the mac and cheese, you didn't even need to include it, quite honestly. Like if you wanted to ruffle Gordon's feathers, just don't. It would still rock. Okay, so let's rank it. So first up, for flavor, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Comfort level, like how did it make me feel? 10 out of 10. And then creativity, like what did it bring to the table here? Because all 3 of these recipes today, they're adding something to the mac and cheese. And with this one, with the cauliflower, a 9 out of 10. So Gordo's coming in with a 29 out of 30. That is a very, very good score right off the bat. So I see no faults with the recipe. Look out, Anthony Bourdain's macaroni and cheese. First of all, let's just say it, the cayenne pepper. That was a like massive big punch of spice. It's very loud and proud in there. I've never come across something like that in a mac and cheese. Just that much cayenne pepper, 2 tablespoons worth. So that's gonna put hair on your chest. I found that that matched the attitude that Anthony Bourdain had with the recipe at the beginning. I really dug it. I thought that that was just genius. So this is like the cheesiest thing that I've ever encountered. It felt like I was eating pure cheese. I don't know how you can add more cheese than he did. There's some mozzarella in there. Gruyere, cheddar, so it got the sharpness, the classic sharpness, and then the Parmesan, which was really singing too. The ham, I'm very glad that I added it in there. You don't have to, but I enjoyed it. Good mustard powder addition. Gotta love the mustard flavor in there. Just like Gordon's, it's the same amount, so cool. Although it is incredibly delicious, it's like a complete 180 from Gordon's mac and cheese. It just hits you differently. It's intense. I felt like I was like shaving years off my life eating it, where Gordon's just felt like health food in comparison. So anyway, let's rank it. Flavor-wise, no questions asked, 10 out of 10, yep. Comfort. It was very intense, I'm giving it a 9. And then creativity, an overwhelming 10 out of 10 is the cayenne pepper. That was one of the highlights of the day and a game changer in my opinion. So he's getting a 29 out of 30. That's a tie with Gordon Ramsay. We got ourselves a cage match. TK, you're up next. Thomas Keller's macaroni gratin. Another f***ing good mac and cheese. While I was eating this, I kept bouncing the idea that this could be the best one yet. It was running through my mind at times. I found that it did share some similarities with Gordon's. You know, the breadcrumbs and the thyme on top. So there was a nice cheesy crust. More of a crunch with the panko. You know, it's just like a coarser breadcrumb. I don't know why I'm laughing. And then the thyme was more prevalent in there. So yeah, very interesting, isn't it? But he wasn't overdoing it with any of it. The creaminess out of this world, that Mornay was exceptional, but does this recipe need to do that 30-minute simmer with the bechamel? Like, it's kind of being different than the other 2 recipes. Did it pay off in the end? I did pinpoint the onion flavor in there, and I found that the spices that we added, the seasoning, Did add some dimension, some layers to it, to the flavor. So yeah, I can't fault the TK recipe for being a TK recipe. That's what you're gonna get. Added steps that sometimes you're like, huh? But that's what he does. I really love the mushrooms added into this thing. I don't think it needs to be optional. Now, with only one type of cheese, that could be a risky move in this cage match, placing all your chips with Emmental. Ballsy, the cheese pull, sensational. But because of the milder flavor than something like a cheddar, it's not as in your face, not as sharp, and not overwhelmingly like cheesy like Bourdain's. Now, it didn't have the mustard powder, and maybe it didn't fit the vibe, but I just wanted to mention that. Cool. There are a lot of good flavors in this one. I could definitely see this being served at a finer restaurant or bistro or what have you, but it would also work anywhere. It is an all-terrain mac and cheese. All right, let's start off with flavor here. 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, we gotta be strict. And 9.5. It's just a comfort level. How does it make me feel? A 9.5 out of 10. Creativity, what's it bringing? The mushrooms. The boldness to only add one cheese when the other recipes were adding multiple. 8.5 out of 10. All right, so we're going with a 27.5 out of 30 for Thomas Keller's. Okay, it is incredibly difficult to figure out which one of these is the best. And you can just look at the flavor scores. We've got 2 10s and a 9.5 out of 10. So what we've figured out is that mac and cheese is delicious, but we knew that. And we got 3 killer recipes. Unfortunately, TK's coming up short here, so. Okay, so this is how we're gonna determine this, because this is a deadlock tie between Gordon Ramsay's and Anthony Bourdain's. This has never happened in a cage match before, so let's figure this out. Just say which one you want, like top of your mind here. If you were served one right now, which one would you want? Gorthinies, a bit of both. Anthony Bourdain's. It's cayenne. There's no way in hell this is going to be held up by this, is it? Come on. Come on. Too big? Is it too big? Yeah. Oh, that'll work. Okay,